What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we're going to be having a little bit of a look at a brand new character card coming out in Wave 2 of the Transformers TCG, Rise of the Combiners. It's Dirge. Now, Dirge was revealed on BigAngryTrev.com, you know the deal. People who are leaking these cards, we like them. Make sure you click on that, I'll pop a link in the description. Dirge is a plane, and ladies and gentlemen, I think there is room in the Transformers TCG for a bit of Dirge. So what does it actually do? Well, let's start off like we often do by having a little bit of a look at the stats here. So starting off, it is an 8 cost, which is average. Health of 11 is just below average. Defense of 2 is average. Attack of 2 or 4 is average or half of average. Okay. So we don't particularly like the stats here. They are lower than we would expect. So hopefully we've got some skills here which are going to help us out. And the answer is, yes, we do. Bot mode, I think, is probably my favourite of the two. It's got Pierce 1, which means you do at least 1 damage when attacking, but remember, your Pierce cannot exceed your attack. Now, we actually just looked at Surprise Attack earlier today. Surprise Attack gives you Pierce 3, so you'd need to add a couple to your attack to get it rolling properly, but this would give you Pierce 4, and we could be rocking and rolling here. What is even better than Pierce 1 is when you do enough damage to KO an enemy without doing extra damage, you untap. Now this, ladies and gentlemen, is absolutely ridiculous. Untapping is crazy. Untapping just gives you an extra turn. You have another Transformer. It's like playing an extra Transformer in your deck. You're untapped, so then when you're looking to say, oh, do I have an untapped character? Yes! Yes, you do, and we do not see that many untapping options. There are a few, we'll go through them in a minute. The problem is, this does not untap when you KO a character. This untaps when you KO a character exactly, where you don't do any extra. So let's say, for argument's sake, you're up against RC, and RC has no damage on, so it's sitting there at full health. You need to do exactly 9 damage and get a KO. Now that is 9 damage above and beyond the defense, although given that RC's got a defense of 1, that's 10 unless they flip any blue icons. So, cool. It's not easy to get rolling, but it gives you such a monumental advantage when you do get rolling that I think it's probably worth taking seriously. The thing is here, if you're going to get use out of this, you've got to try and take away a lot of the variables from your deck. Because if you need to hit 3 orange icons to get a KO, you hit 3, yay! You hit 4, you still get the KO, but you don't get the untapping as well, and the untapping is what makes it... I mean, look, I don't want to use the word broken as in, oh, it's broken, it's amazing, but broken as in, this is not how it's supposed to work. You are not supposed to get extra attacks and extra turns. It's not supposed to happen. So this allows you to break that rule in the most literal sense possible, but you got to really work for it. So I could see this working with a variety of different weapons that all do a different amount of extra damage. So you could play something like Armed Hovercraft. I love Armed Hovercraft. You should probably know that by now. And we do have a ranged character, so Armed Hovercraft would be entirely appropriate. An Armed Hovercraft would do 1 damage to each of your opponent's characters, and then give you +1 attack. So, if you needed that, you'd be absolutely rolling. +1 attack, and you do the damage, so you could potentially know if you're getting the KO. But then again, you never know how many blue icons your opponent is going to flip. What you could do here is go entirely blue icons, play no orange, play a defensive deck, so that you would know for certain exactly what your attack was going into a battle. But you wouldn't always know what your opponent's defense is, because you wouldn't know if they were going to be able to flip a bunch of blues. And that's the risk with this card. It is a huge risk, but I think it might be one worth taking. At the end of the day, I don't think you can ever know for certain, but by playing a range of different upgrades, so let's say Energon Axe, if you're damaged, that gives you 3 more attack. Grenade launcher, okay, it only lasts for a single turn, but that gives you 4 extra attack. By giving yourselves options of how much you're increasing your attack, you could potentially get this rolling. Just remember, as much control as you can have over your attack, you cannot have the same level of control over your opponent's defense. Although incidentally, you can use Warpath to take away their ability to use Tough, which will give you a little bit of control here in terms of just being able to make sure they're not adding to their defense too much. Great ability, super awkward. What about the ult mode then? What does the ult mode do? Could the ult mode be good? It's alright. It's got 4 attack, which is better. When you flip to this mode, you get +1 attack until end of turn for each character in your opponent's KO area. Now, this one could also be really good. We just saw, just the other day, I'll pop a link in the description to the video I made, Devastator. And the thing about Devastator is, Devastator has 6 constituent bots. So if you're going to be against Devastator, and you can get a few early KOs, and there are some weak characters in the Devastator deck, you can have 4 or 5 characters in the KO area, which gives you an attack of 8 or 9. That's pretty nice. That is going to be a huge advantage to you, because that's going to take out like any of the other characters from Devastator. Essentially, the more you KO, the stronger it gets. And don't forget, you can always use stuff like Rapid Conversion or Rollout to get a couple of extra flips and get it going a little bit more, well, rapidly, I suppose, would be the punny way to put it. And then you can keep doing this, and you can have +2 attack one turn, +4 attack a couple turns later. This can work really nicely. Against 2 bot decks, it's not going to do very much. But if you're against a combiner that's made up of 6 characters, this could be really good. And while we're talking about 6 character combiners, I should probably mention Optimus Maximus here. Because Optimus Maximus is another 6 combiner team, but it all goes from Optimus Prime Gleaming Commander. Now, Optimus Prime Gleaming Commander, in ult mode, when you start the game and you've only got Sentinel characters, put 3 different Sentinels you own from outside the game into the KO area. So if you're going against Optimus Maximus, your opponent gives you an instant +3 attack. And then you can put that up to potentially a +5. Now, I suppose the counter argument to this is that if your opponent just plays Sentinel Enigma, then they take all the characters out of the KO area, and then you don't get the extra attack. So for 4, 5, even 6 wide teams, this is a great skill. For 2, maybe even 3 wide teams, it's not. But I think you need this. Because in bot mode, I adore the Pierce. It's weak Pierce, but it's Pierce nonetheless. And I am over the moon with the skill. It's just really hard to get rolling. So you need something else, and having an ult mode skill that can potentially put you up to an attack higher than Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend, which was the highest attack in Wave 1, I think really does count as a nice bonus here. And look, untapping is not exactly an easy thing to do. One of the characters that really interests me is Autobot Mirage. In ult mode, you get to untap if you can flip at least 3 white icons the first time you attack. That's pretty gosh darn good. That could be fun. But you got to flip 3 white icons. You can guarantee it happens by going full white. But firstly, that really restricts the amount of battle cards you can actually play, because you're only playing 1 to white icons. Your choice goes down. And secondly, if you don't do that, that's going to be really hard to actually get that trick working, which is a little bit of a pain. That is the only character in Wave 1 that can untap itself. Now, weirdly, we do have an upgrade card that can untap cars as well, because apparently cars are great. Turbo Boosters. When you put it on a character, untap that character. So you could potentially just go like Perpetual Mirage and just keep rolling. And that could be kind of fun. Not to mention we got the action card Start Your Engines, which fleets each of your cars from bot to car mode and then untaps one of your cars. So untapping is a mechanism, it's just really not an easy one to pull off. I like Dirge. I don't know if I'm going to be putting it in any decks. It is an incredibly interesting card, but I worry that it's just awkward. Just too awkward. The untapping on bot mode is amazing, but how often are you actually going to do enough damage to KO an enemy without doing extra when you can't control how many blue flips they're going to flip? And the ult mode skill is amazing against combiners and wide teams, but really kind of irrelevant against two bot teams. Lot of potential. Don't know if it's going to realize it, but I suppose that's why we test. So ladies and gentlemen, this is a stage in the video where you go and tell me what you think about this. So please do go nuts in the comment section. Go nuts. But please do remember the most important rule. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk about Transformers and other cards. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.